Okay, so we get this question a lot. Do I really need to use Mel's Mix because I have deep beds and it gets expensive?
Mel's Mix is really the core tenet of square foot gardening and for a lot of good reasons. And when you really amortize the cost over how long it lasts and how little resources like water that it uses, it really is a big savings in the long run. And with the success of Mel's Mix, you can't beat it. So yes, you really need to use Mel's Mix. It retains water perfectly. It has all the nutrients that you need when you add compost each time you replant a square. It's soft, it's friable. The weeding, I can't tell you, is it's almost funny, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I did a little video the other day where
they just pop right out.
yeah, you take 2 fingers, like Mel said, you pluck those weeds out, and you save a lot of time and energy and work, backbreaking work. You don't have to till your garden every year.
Mhm.
You can plant earlier in the spring, right?
Sure.
Because
Heats
it
up
warms
faster.
up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So yes, Mel's Mix, you only need 6 inches, and yes, you can grow tomatoes 9, 10 feet high because the roots do spread out in 6 inches. It's well worth the investment. But remember, Mel always said, start small. You don't need to have a huge square foot garden or a super deep bed. If you want to do root vegetables, you're building the soil up in each square with a top hat or a box and filling that with Mel's Mix. Just the square that you want to grow your carrots in. So it really can be cost effective in the long run.
Mm-hmm. A lot of these are answered on our website and our blog posts. And certainly look up those at your leisure and check them out because you'll get a lot of great answers there.
Yeah, Rick Bickling did awesome videos on our official Square for Gardening Foundation YouTube channel. He's the How Do Gardener. He's been helping us explain Mel's Mix. And he's actually broken down each component, the compost component, the vermiculite component, the peat moss component, the issues that people say they have with those as far as sustainability. He addresses all that.
Mm-hmm.
So check out the YouTube channel, and that's the official Square for Gardening Foundation YouTube channel to explain in detail about the Mel's Mix, which I can't believe how wonderful it really is.
It does work.
I was skeptical at first, and it really does work.
So the next question is, why don't I need to use fertilizer in my square foot garden?
If you're using Mel's Mix appropriately in the right way, you're using compost. And homemade compost is, of course, the very best to use, and it's easy to make yourself. Compost has all the nutrients that your garden is going to need. There is no need for fertilizers of any kind. Everything that you use in Mel's Mix comes together in a blend that works really well. The compost has got all the nutrients. When you replant a square, it's very easy to take a trowel full of just compost, add it to that square, and plant again for your second crop. It gives you crop rotation, and the compost will give you all the nutrients you need.
Yeah, that's a question we get asked a lot, and people think they have to fertilize, and it's kind of the old way of thinking, and it's a lot of money. And what it actually does is it throws the balance off of your Mel's Mix. And then they say, well, why isn't this growing? And why isn't that growing in my Mel's Mix? Well, guess what? You just threw off the pH balance when you added something to the Mel's Mix that you didn't need to. So if you go outside of using compost to add and feed, as Steve said, your plants, you've changed the formulation. And once you do that, it's like a balancing act. It's almost like taking medications. There are side effects. And once you go down that slippery slope, you're going to have to do soil testing and all these other things that you really shouldn't have or needed to do
in the first place.
Right. If you had just followed the Mel's Mix, which again is perfectly pH balanced for most vegetables. And you don't want to mess up that pH factor.
The next question is it better to use bagged compost or make my own compost? And what if I can't make my own compost? Then what do I do?
Making your compost your own is actually very easy. You just have to remember a few rules to play by, and kitchen scraps are wonderful. You never put dairy products in, and you don't put meat in. Compost will not smell. It will not attract varmints. It breaks down naturally if you have the right products in there. Certainly kitchen scraps and vegetables are perfect for that. That said, a lot of people in urban areas may not be able to make their own. In that case, you can use bag products, but it's very important to get a blend of bag products and make sure that they have an OMRI label on it, because that's certified organic. Certain things to keep an eye out for. And once again, we have these tips on our blogs, and we have this in several videos on our YouTube channel, and all those can be accessed through our website. Certain tips to keep in mind when you're buying bag is, for instance, a manure. That's one type of compost. You need 5 types to make a good blend. So cow manure, horse manure, and chicken manure are not 3 types of compost that be added, manure. Those are considered one type. So you're going to need things like mushroom, maybe worm castings, things like that to make up a balance that'll give you a good mixture. And if you want to think about it this way, it's your plants are using their nutrients from the compost. Would you want to eat the same thing day in and day out and not have any variation?
Yeah, and I would say also for urban dwellers, it's a bit more challenging for sure. But there are some municipal composting facilities, so you may want to look into that. And I would definitely ask them where they're sourcing their composting materials from, because you don't want a bunch of junk. But you can find municipal composting facilities that can actually, or any of your ag extensions, I would start there.
And community gardens as well.
Yeah, community gardens, they have compost too for you that I'm sure they'd be willing to lend a hand there and share.
All right, so this was a question from one of our followers. She wrote in, my garden beds are 4 feet by 4 feet, and my family absolutely loves pumpkins and gourds for the fall. Is it possible to plant an entire bed of gourds and an entire bed of pumpkins and just have trellises on all 4 sides of the bed? If so, what is the best configuration? Also, is there anything I could plant in the empty spaces that would produce until the gourds and pumpkins get too big?
First of all, it's a great question. It's a challenge, and I would, if you have the opportunity, instead of doing 4x4s and putting trellises around all sides, I would opt to do something more like possibly a 2x6 or a 2x8 and grow everything up vertically. There are certain areas in our book, All New Square Foot Gardening 3, and we talk about growing up, and we talk about different things that you can build for your garden. And in many cases, let's say
it was on page 38 of the book. Yeah,
you have different pieces like this where you can put your 2 beds together like that, and then have a vertical spanning the both.
Yeah, this is really cool. That's actually cattle panel that people use. And when those pumpkins grow up and over, it makes a really cool canopy. The kids will love that.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different pieces like that in our book, and you can certainly figure that out. But if you want to stick with a 4x4, it could be a little bit of a challenge. You may want to do, in the book, it talks about A-frames, and maybe a couple of those in the middle of the 4x4s would work for you.
Yeah, or you could even do, a lot of people do the 3 sisters where they grow the corn and then they grow the squash or pumpkin and the beans. That seems to work for a lot of people. Or you can just plant in those squares, pollinators, flowers, herbs, onions. It's endless if you have 4x4s and you want to use that space. So definitely use the space if you can. Otherwise, like Steve said, do an elongated bed so you don't waste the space.
Yeah,
but,
if you have that
in the book we show you how to actually build that.
Sure.
Cattle panel. It's awesome.
So the next question is kind of related to the Mel's mix. One of our readers says, I have 4 foot by 4 foot by 8 inch beds that have the native soil in them. And so they're asking, should that be removed and filled only with the Mel's mix?
All right, so that's a great question, but it's a very easy answer. Yes, you need to not use your native soil. You don't know what was there before. There could be chemicals in there that was utilized. There could be a lot of different harmful products. You're going to spend years trying to amend that soil. And the beauty of Mel's Mix is once you've made it, it's good for at least a good 10 years, and you know what's in your soil. And so I would definitely say remove that native soil, go for the quality of Mel's Mix, mix it up yourself. If you can do your own compost, you're better off for it. And start your 4x4 or whatever bed size you want with Mel's Mix and not the native soil.
All right, so we get this question a lot and want to give an answer, and it is, what do I do about different pests in my square foot garden?
Oh, there's lots of different pests.
We get a lot of that.
Well, let's talk about our own experience.
Our own experience here is our biggest pests are squirrels.
Yeah.
They come and they just dig up things. You could have a row of 16 beautiful radishes or carrots just coming up, and it's a beautiful sight. And the next morning, the squirrel has been in there digging away, and it's a mess. So we've done a lot of research in that. And yes, you can put cages over it, but squirrels find their way through. You could cover it. We found a unique way for us. We have a dog, a yellow Labrador, and when we brush her, we take that hair and we form a little ball and we put it in various spots of the garden. The squirrels, believe it or not, do not like that.
It works.
And they have been staying out of our garden.
Yeah, it actually works.
And it works. And it's something that we happened upon, and it's to me to outsmart the squirrel or make it so they're not comfortable works best. We started the spring with cages on it. The squirrels did find their way through, but right now it's the dog hair works great.
Yeah, we cover pests a lot in our Facebook group. So there's lots of Facebook pages on Square for Gardening. You want to look for the public group that says based on Mel Bartholomew's method, because that's where we have experts, scientists who know soil. They know all about pests. We covered organic solutions in our latest blog on our website, and that's the Square for Gardening Foundation.org's website. Look at our blogs. We've got great pest control stuff there. Larger pests like deer, things like that, you literally have to fence them out. You're going to get a lot of mixed messages on how to take care of these pests, and I'm directing you to the foundation's experts, because so many of them, even on the internet, are myths. And so you want to really go to the right source for your information. Smaller pests like cabbage worms, prevention is really key. Yeah. And that's why Mel suggested making your square foot garden really close to your house, because you are apt to walk out there and water your plants and look at them like they're little children. And that's when you see, oh my gosh, look at that little worm nibbling away. And you hand pick a lot of them off before they become really problematic. It's also why Mel suggested planting different plants in each square to prevent those pests from decimating or laying eggs on all your cabbages. They don't like to move around and jump around from square to square. They're very lazy. It's true. So when you mix up your plantings in square foot gardening, you're already doing a preventative measure. But please, I can't stress enough, there's so much misinformation out there. Look for the Square foot Gardening Foundation's official website, Facebook page, group, the books, and you're going to get your best answers there.
So that leads into this question really well, which is, where can I find out more information about square foot gardening, and what are some of your online resources?
We have a brand new course, Square Foot Gardening, where you can take 2 different modules and sections of it to become a certified instructor. If your interest is specifically learning about square foot gardening, we obviously recommend our book, but there is a course online that you can take now, and you can come away from that course with downloads and different things that you can take to your garden, and you can become a sufficient and do very well square foot gardening. The book gives you details that the online course does not, of course, but it's wonderful, and you could take it to the next level and become a certified instructor. And Laura has some great other options for you in terms of social media.
Yeah, I mean, we spent 2 years with a great team building this course, and we're actually in the process of getting ready to release the second level if people want to go on to teach square foot gardening. So we've worked with a team of experts on this course. Yes, you should have the book as a companion. All the proceeds from the sales go directly to our initiatives. We're a nonprofit. We don't make money on this. We go to help worldwide organizations. Many people know we're working with Cultiva in Guatemala. So all the proceeds are going to veterans and other groups around the globe. So yeah, you can check us out on www.squarefootgardening.org. For the course that Steve was just talking about, www.squarefootgardening.com.
And obviously this Facebook page, which we're on today.
Right, our public group, which is based on Mel's method, you can join that. We're teaching you guys for free. We're giving you as much as we can on our YouTube channel, which is the Square Foot Gardening Foundation. You'll see Rick Bickling, the How Do Gardener. In fact, he just released another one today. We have another one coming out real soon to teach you guys, because we want to spread the word. We want to get everybody growing, and it's the best chance for success, especially for new gardeners, if they follow the method. So what other social media do we have?
Well, we've got
the Instagram page.
and we have, but really the YouTube channel, the website itself, and the course, and the official Facebook page are your best bet to learn the latest things on square foot gardening.
Yeah, and when you get on the .org course, I would say definitely sign up for the newsletter. You'll get on our email blast. We give away free downloads that are super, super helpful. We have tons of downloads, and the course itself has tons of downloads. So if you're really a visual learner, the course is great.
Yeah. And our blogs on the website are wonderful. They're very well written. They're very well spelled out. Excellent writers that deal with specific issues, and you'll find everything you want right there.
Yep.
All right. And so our last question is, what if I want to find somebody that knows about square foot gardening that is close to me and in my local area? How would I find a square foot gardening expert?
We talked about this course that we launched, and that is to certify people to teach the method. So right now we have about 600 certified instructors around the country. Once people take this brand new course, we hope to double that, triple that, quadruple that, to teach people how to learn how to square foot garden. The best way to find a certified instructor, someone who's been trained in the method to help you, is to go on squarefootgardening.org and look for a certified instructor. You'll find a bar on the top that you can go to, and it'll take you to a locator map. And that locator map, if you plug in your zip code, it'll give you a radius. Scroll down, it'll give you a contact of who to contact to either answer a question by way of email or find out about an event. We have an event calendar. Of course, this year, everybody had to stay home and there were a lot of Zoom events, but hopefully we're keeping our fingers crossed on this COVID situation. We'll be able to get out in the field again and actually hold live demonstrations. We did the Mother Earth News Fair before we got shot down on COVID. So we'll see what happens this year. We hope to have a lot more live events. So keep looking on the website for the event calendar, what the certified instructors are doing, and that locator map is really key. And you can also contact us at info@squarefootgardening.org, and we can get you set up with any CI that we have in your area, and hopefully we'll have a lot more after the course launches.
Thanks for joining us on this World Square Foot Gardening Day. We appreciate it. Check us out on squarefootgardening.org. Look at our new course, and happy gardening.